all the time. They didn't care anymore. They had seen too many deaths. This happened in Vietnam a lot from what I've read. If you ever want to check out a good book, I think I've mentioned this before on this show, check out Tim O'Brien's The Things They Carried. It's about Vietnam. And it's one of the best stories I've ever read about any war. It's fucking awesome. But it gives you an appreciation for how important tiny things become in war. Instinct. I would kill until killed. Some step forward and some step back naturally. Well, that's true. And what if it's a smart move? You know, if you're thinking about that, you have think of the Survivor show. Now, there's some natural stuff that comes out there. The people that fly under the radar and the people that provide major services to the group, they're the ones that hang around until the voting starts and you realize, hey, somebody's a big threat because they do so much or they're so good. We got to get them out of here. Let's become allies and vote them out. So I think that translates directly over into human behavior. I think it's natural. But I also think we can make a choice not to be involved in the fucking scheming and scamming to knock somebody out of power. I don't like that. You know, the same people that used to get on their hands and knees and bow down to Saddam Hussein were the ones that after his trial took him, hung him on a rope, and cheered. And the same people that cheered when his statue was torn down. And, you know, shifted in the wind. It didn't take much. There's a leader. Oh, fuck that leader. There's a leader. Oh, fuck that leader. You know. Humanity is a constant wave with a crest constantly changing. But the wave continues to move on. And you either are on top of it, or you're out in front of it, or you're left behind. I don't know what it all means. What guy said it's instinct? Yeah, it is instinct. Bad example of Hitler, Stalin removed those that threatened their power. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, that's very Machiavellian in nature. And that's how many leaders, I think even before the days of the prince, they removed threats. If they had a little bit of power, and actually Hussein did it too. If they have a little bit of power, small militia force, bodyguards, call them anything you want, that can knock out the competition quickly, they will do that. They will do that. And it's only in a very civilized society that you find it's got to be democratic in nature where the people hold the power. The people truly hold the power. And you can't just go knock off your opponent. You can hit them with negative campaign ads. You can try to harass the shit out of them. But you can't just go pop a cap because somebody's going to find you and figure it out, and then you're going to be fucked. So, I don't know. But it is in our nature, I think. I couldn't do that. If I had joined a clan that was already established and there was a leader, I'd respect that leader until something he did or said totally defied what I believed to be morally correct, or he was making terribly bad decisions. I would still just try to advise him, like, hey, the food's over here, motherfucker. But to try to knock him off all the time, what is that, king of the hill? That doesn't feel like the way we should be going. Nope. If he's been there a while, he's got some tenure, making decent decisions, I say leave him in the leadership spot. He's doing fine. But that's not how it works, is it? Everybody wants to be king of the hill. Power, control. Younger brothers had to go too. That's right, yeah. Talking about the Old Testament shit now. Quick thinking, I guess, like an animal does, instinct. You know? Yeah, I mean, your instinct is going to override anything in an animal situation. Your instinct is also going to override anything you have to make in a quick decision, a very quick decision. And that goes back to what we were talking about last show, implicit bias. You have some bias already in your head, even if when you have time to think about things, then you may decide, okay, this is fair, this is the right thing to do, this is what's going to be the best thing for me to do right now. If I look back from the future, this is what I wish I had done. That takes time. Whereas if there's suddenly a tarantula on your face, you're going to make a decision. You're going to make a decision, and it may not be what you expected. Somebody comes up behind you with a knife and puts it against your throat, you're going to make a decision. And I don't think all of us know what we do until we've been in situations like that. Then we could start saying, okay, I know I have control over my immediate fear response. When they train Navy SEALs, you know what they do now? They're doing a new thing. They're putting a bucket or bag over the SEAL's head, and then they yank it off, and right in front of the SEAL will be either an attacker or like a guy acting suspicious or an innocent civilian. And they have to figure out right away what to do. So what they're really teaching them to do is to ignore the immediate fear response and go straight into logical thinking. And it's working. You know, they're finding that the pass rates for SEAL school are going up like 20, 30%. Now that they've got these guys conditioned, especially with the underwater drills, lots of guys were tapping out and saying, I got to go, I can't do this. Because they come down and they rip out your mouthpiece of your scuba gear, they attack you and they shake you around, and you have to untie knots in your hose, and the whole time you're underwater, and you're exerting energy, so you really want that oxygen, and then you have to fix it. And a lot of guys freak the fuck out. It's the natural response to being underwater and not being able to get air. So by training them in the way that they do now with these new methods, a lot more guys are passing the school instead of, you know, I think it was around an 80% dropout rate or fail rate. Nature will do what it does, but you can also prepare yourself for the worst parts of nature. Search and destroy is embedded in Guy. I just hit them. Punch. Okay? Just about every punch I ever took, I never thought about it. I usually thought about mine. It depends on what was going on. If I got rushed by somebody, it was just automatic. But if somebody just started talking shit and I had some time to think about it, I'd be like, okay, I'd ask myself a few questions. One, how big is the guy? If he's another shorty that likes to come up to me, I'm not going to ruin this guy's life and break his neck with a punch. Number two, how serious is he? Is he bitching at everybody, or is he specifically picking me out? Number three, how drunk am I? And how many friends does he have? You got to calculate your odds first. And then maybe number four, what would this fight accomplish? I might ask that. Basically, if someone put their hands on me, that was it. That was over the line, and we're going to fight. But if I had some time to think about it, then I might just put him in a hold, you know, a jiu-jitsu wrist lock or something, and you know, I wouldn't embarrass them and make them say who's the boss and all that shit. I would just, you know, steer them out the door and let them know that if I let them go, like I did one guy one time, I said no punches. He fucking, as soon as I let him go, he took about 3 steps forward and turned around and charged me. That was it for him. People that are under the influence of alcohol or certain drugs, you can't reason with them. I mean, they're worse than the animal. They're the animal without any cognitive ability. They're going directly from emotions. And their emotions may be affected by 100 different things. Memories, people around them, ex-girlfriends. If they went through a hard time, recently lost a loved one. You don't know what you're going to get when you dump a lot of alcohol in there. This is one of my slower moving shows. I apologize for that. I wasn't really ready for it. Punch white people, Stabby says. I agree, man. We do have to punch some white people. Of course, if they're huge, maybe not. Well, I agree, man. I mean, I would assess size. I would be less likely to hit the tiny short guy than I would the guy bigger than me. Because, you just have to have confidence in what you can do. But there's also guilt. If you're a human being who's not a psychopath or sociopath or leaning that way, then you carry around some guilt over your past. All right, some of you guys know what I'm talking about. I can look at things like that, like a fight's about to break out, and say, I'm going to feel guilty if I hurt this person permanently. Do I want to carry that guilt? I've got a fucking huge suitcase of guilt I already carry around. Do I really want to add to the weight of that? And I think about that now. But like I said, if a punch is thrown from the attacker or hands are put on me, there's no more thinking. It's just doing at that point. And really, that's a survival instinct. You're either gonna, the reaction. It's fight or flight. I don't have flight. I don't have it. All I have is fight. So that's what's going to happen. But you have to elicit the response first, which is a major adrenaline rush, and all of the shit happens. The blood moves away from the surface of your skin and goes toward your vital organs, and your breathing rate picks up, your galvanic skin response increases, your respiratory course, blood pressure, heart rate, all that jumps up there, and you're ready. You're either going to run or you're going to fight. And I think in some cases running is probably smarter, but animals are going to do what animals are going to do, and that's really all we are. We try to make ourselves look so fucking advanced because we've got some cool buildings and neat cars, and we've been to the moon, and we're just not that advanced. We're comparing ourselves to the wrong things. Please, Hammer, don't hurt them. You should let me call in. I'm getting ready to go off the show, man. But Joe, if that's the real Joe, you were rather volatile when we had the page up for for the Spreaker or whatever. I can't remember what we called it. So I would expect you to be volatile on a call. I mean, how could I know that you'd be peaceful and at least semi-professional on a call? It's nothing personal, man. It's just not wanting to get into it with anybody. I'm just a person who deals much better with that type of thing in person, not online. It just bothers me. It bothers me that there's an invisible connection there, But we're getting ready to get out of here. Depending on how Guy feels about it and what he advises, I'll decide whether or not we can get Joe in on a call. And Mr. White also, and Guy and Stabby, I appreciate you guys coming. It was something to do. It was something to talk about, and there was nothing real fun to talk about. I guess deep down, I wish people could get along a little better on this network, but I'm asking nature to change, and that's just not going to happen. So, I don't know. I guess I'm one of those fence guys. Like, I'm thinking peace, but I'm also ready for war. But I'm not ready for Spreaker war. I'm not going to do that. I make a threat here and there. I tell people how I would handle my business, and then I'm all done with it. So I don't know. It's forgiveness can also be a product of time passing, not active thought. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Mr. White says I can't run anymore, so I have to figure that in. Yeah, same here. And if I do get in a fight, I have to pay for it. Even if he never touches me, I'll be in bed for a week because of my back. I'll twist it. The legs will start going numb. I'm good for a couple of minutes doing something like that, and then I got to be done. So that also factors into my thinking. I got to go for the immediate takedown and submission, or I'm going to end up in trouble. So that's why I can't wait to get surgery so I can be back in that position where I'm confident in a longer fight where there needs to be one. But really, it's more like for going camping and hiking and kayaking and bike riding. I want to get back into doing all that shit again and working my normal 75-hour work weeks, which is stupid. I don't know why we do that as Americans. We work too much. We're killing ourselves. I think Sweden or Switzerland that's getting ready to go to a 4-day work week. They get at least a minimum of 1 month paid vacation every year. Those people got it figured out. We're fucking workaholics over here. I'm fighting Guy for the death in May, the malice in Dallas. Good show. Thank you, Mr. White. I appreciate that. Adrenaline does rock, but it also has a price because you got to come down off of it like any good drug. Yeah, we'll see how things look next show. I did a test show earlier tonight, or I don't know what you'd say, last night, and everything worked great. I did the Skype test call. There was no static, no pop-in, none of that. And then as soon as I fucking hooked up, and all I did was change the address of the show to go from my test category to my Truth on Tap category, everything went to shit. So that makes me unhappy, but I'm closer, much closer than I have been in a while, to getting everything to work right. And I'll figure it out before the next show so we can take calls. We take multiple calls. As long as whoever's calling in has a decent connection too, it should sound pretty smooth. So I'm looking forward to it.